we can. So I'll let Jamie give the introductions here. I think we're going to have Ken get us started, but I'll let Jamie do the introduction.
Yeah, I'm just going to do a quick introduction. And so I just want to say good morning, everyone. As you know, this is the Times Weekly newspaper. We're located in Joliet, but we cover the south suburban communities of Chicago. Today, we wanted to talk to you from the Times Weekly about the CARES funds that the Will County has for small business. And we thought it was a good idea. We've written the stories on it in the newspaper, but we thought it'd be a good idea to also do this because this can get linked to other people's Facebooks. And this is part of what we do at the Times Weekly now. Of course, we're all in the digital age. So we want to make sure that people are aware of it and that they will be able to take advantage of it. So I'm Jamie Kane, and I'm on the editorial committee or group with a team at our newspaper. So I'm just going to ask a couple questions. And actually, I'm just going to do the the opening. And Ken, I want you to go in and talk about it because Ken is the Will County Board member, District 8 from
District 4.
Bolingbrook. District 4, I'm sorry,
Yes.
from Bolingbrook. I'm in District 8. District 4 in Bolingbrook. And he's also the chairman of the Ad Hoc CARES Committee. The Ad Hoc CARES? The Ad Hoc CARES Act Committee. Yes, for the county. Funding. Sorry. Funding that is giving that has the funds for small business to disperse. Can you give us a little fill-in on that?
Yes. The CARES fund the county received $121 million from the United States Treasury to cover COVID-related expenditures for Will County. This money, based on our population size, came directly to the county. Our county and some of the collar county got money directly. Some of the smaller counties, they have to depend on the state to get their money for CARES. So, as you know, the requirements, this money has to be spent on certain COVID-related expenses. Basically, any residents or business or organizations that have been impacted by COVID. That's the criteria for this money. So it cannot be used to replace revenues or anything like that. So what the committee did, the speaker established a committee, a CARES Act committee, consisting of 5 of our Will County board members. And we basically set aside this money in certain categories: municipalities, local government, not-for-profit, small business, and professional services, just to name some of the categories that we will be setting money aside. These categories, as silos, what we call them, are subject to change as we get into this. So far, we done rolled out the application process for the municipal governments, the municipalities, the local governments, and small business has been rolled out, I think last week, maybe a week and a half ago. Next on the list is nonprofit. We haven't finalized those, that application process yet, but we do have a website to go to register to receive an alert if you're a not-for-profit and other business. So once the application is available, then we will be able to notify you. The application for the small business, that is live. It's going to go through September 30th. So if you are a small business, then we encourage you to register. And we define a small business as revenues less than 2.5 million and your Will County base organization. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much what we've been doing.
Okay.
The county, we contracted with a consultant to help us, who has the expertise in helping us disperse this money. What is called the Bronner Group. I believe they, in essence, contracted with Georgina Hurd, who's been helping identify outreach as much as possible to help us get this money out. I think just recently we contracted with Action Bank to help with the disbursement for the small business, to review those applications, and also when it's time to disperse funds The small business application process goes through September 30th. So that gives us time to receive applications for business to apply. We can evaluate and we'll make a determination. Up to $15,000 grant is what that criteria is. I forgot to mention that. So,
So Georgina, I didn't know if you were finished yet, Ken. Go ahead.
I'm done. We probably think of some more as we talk.
Yeah, that's fine. I wanted Georgina to jump in because she's, as you said, she's a consultant and with the Bronner Group. And so how's that outreach been going, Georgina?
Well, I think we're doing a pretty good job. We have touched, I would say, every possible ethnic organization, as well as all of the chambers of commerce, all of the political organizations, all of our elected officials that serve Will County, our congressional representatives, our 2 U.S. Senators, and we're continuing to extend our outreach because it's so important for us to make sure that everyone in the county that has a small business, and as Ken said, if you have under 2.5 million in annual revenues, if you have less than 25 full-time equivalent employees, you have been impacted by COVID, you should be applying for these funds. Today, just this morning, I checked our application pool, and we have 742 applications that we've received. When we do the math in terms of the 24.1 million that has been allocated by Will County for the small business program, we're looking at approximately 1,600 businesses that could be receiving up to $15,000 each for this initiative. And we continue to do more outreach. And I just want to thank you and the Times Weekly for allowing us to continue to spread the word to our small businesses. And also, I want our viewers and listeners to recognize that you can have a brick and mortar business located in Will County. You can have a home-based business where you work outside of your home. And you could be an individual contractor. I think what is also important to note that if you, for example, if you've been an independent contractor, individual contributor, that you may have had the opportunity to apply for the PUA funds through unemployment compensation. And if you have done that, you may not be eligible to receive these monies. We're looking to target these companies and businesses that have been left out of other funding opportunities, such as PPE. Some cities and municipalities have also had their own programs, but our focus is to really reach out and touch and support those businesses that have been impacted by COVID. Maybe they've had to close, maybe you've had a daycare center and you've not been able to provide services. Those are the kind of businesses that we want to reach out to. Barbers, hairdressers, personal service individual. So again, we have to get the word out to everybody. We're reaching out to the faith-based organizations, the churches, the mosque, the synagogues, to let people know that these funds are available and they should take advantage of it by going online and filing an application at willcountyillinois.com COVID Biz Grant.
Okay, that's so what are some of the issues or some of the questions that you had that concerns people had, Georgina, regarding this?
Well, we've had questions, for example, from the farming community, because when we talk about small businesses, that also includes the small, not the corporate farms, but the small independent family farms. And, people that have, let's say, they have not been able to sell their crops. Usually maybe they're targeting the various restaurants where they're doing specialty crops and things like that. They've not been able to sell their crops. So they want to know if they can look at those expenses and not necessarily get reimbursed, but be covered for their losses. We've had restaurants that had to shut down, then they reopen, and because of the spike in COVID, they can no longer have indoor dining. So they want to know, how do they if they are eligible to also receive these funds. We've had personal care service people such as hairdressers, massage therapists. They again want to know how they can account for their lost revenue. And it's really easy. This is not like the PPP process where you had to do a lot of accounting. All you need to do is be able to attest to the fact that you have lost revenue, and you prove that by you can have a bank statement. Let's say if you have a bank statement from 2019 that shows that you were taking in X amount of dollars, and now a year later after COVID, you demonstrate your loss. Maybe because of the nature of your business, you've been able to do accurate profit and loss statements. That's another way. We had a question from an individual who said that they open up their business in January, which again, you're eligible to apply for these funds because you need to have been in business before February 15th. So they open up their business in January. They don't have the accounting from 2019. So all they need to do is show what their expenses, what their revenue was when they opened up in January, and then show because they've had a shutdown or whatever, or they've lost clients, and they can compare that, let's say, to August, and demonstrate that. We're looking to not exclude people, but rather include people in the pool, because this is so important for our small business community to be able to recover from COVID. If you are planning on filing bankruptcy, or if you're in the midst of filing bankruptcy, this is not the program for you. We're looking for those businesses that want to restore themselves to pre-COVID levels. And we're hoping post-COVID that we can also provide a lot of support for businesses in terms of how to recapture their client base, how to improve their financial accounting. So if and when the federal government makes a determination that they want to release additional funds for similarly situated businesses, that these companies are already queued up to have the paperwork that's required so that they can take advantage of any new opportunities. And also, this is an opportunity, we look at COVID as an opportunity to kind of reset, rethink how we've done business in the past, and take this as an opportunity to kind of redevelop our new business initiatives, new strategies for how to not just get clients, but how to retain them.
So is there no opportunity for someone who's had the PPP program, just in case, there are some people who are interested, because, those programs have, gone away, although they do say in this new bill that they're looking at passing through the Senate, there is some extended PPP funds, but I don't know, that hasn't passed. So I don't know.
I understand that bill, as of I think yesterday or the day before, was dead. And there's a thought that there will not be any new legislation proposed or passed before the election. So, which, technically may mean before the end of the year. But again, we aren't looking to exclude people. We have a priority for applications. And the first priority is for those individuals that were forced to close. And then the last one, there are 4 different categories. And the last one, the fourth, is inclusive of everyone. I don't like to ever say no, because just because someone has received PPE monies does not mean that they may not have other expenses that may not have been covered by those monies. So again, we are encouraging all to apply for the grant. We have made a determination that the grant applications will not be approved on a rolling basis, because we want to first prioritize, again, those businesses that did not receive any monies, and then make sure that they are included in the pool. And then we'll also be looking at other businesses. Because you have to upload documents with your applications, we've got some individuals who've asked the question, well, gee, I didn't get my bank statements yet, or I can't find my tax return from the previous year and I'm still looking for it. So what we're doing is saying, if you have completed your application, you've uploaded it, but you are missing documents, we will be getting back to you after September 28th to say, you're missing documents. So please resubmit the information so that we can make a determination for you. Our concern was that if we did it on a rolling basis, which the PPP program was, how that was handled, that you have everyone who comes in at the beginning. Let's say today we have 742 applications. They come in at the beginning and they get the funds, assuming they're all eligible and they submit their appropriate paperwork. And then that one business that really suffered from COVID is now being told all the funds have been exhausted. So that's the purpose of having this one application process, reviewing based on the priorities that have been determined, and then those grants, assuming that the individuals that are applied have met all of the eligibility requirements, then they will receive their notification in early October, and then we'll be looking at those others.
I like the fairness aspect of the way that you're going about that. I think that's a good thing. Just very quickly, either Ken or Georgina can weigh in. I'm curious, is there a deadline that the county has that they have to get this money out by, or they'll have to return it or something like that? Or are there stipulations as to when all the money has to be dispersed by?
We're working under a December 30th deadline. We don't know if the feds will extend that, but when you're applying for the funds, you really have to project out what your losses are going to be through December 30th. So yes, that is important. We don't want to give any money back to the federal government. Will County has a tremendous need. We don't want to give a penny back to the federal government at this point.
Well,
I hear you,
no
kid.
point. Really at no point.
Tamika has joined us, and so has Isabel, just to let everyone know. So,
So let's hear from
Sorry,
Isabel. Yeah.
Hi, good morning. Sorry, I was late.
Good morning. Oh, there you are.
Hey, I would like to also reiterate what Ms. Hurd just mentioned. We encourage all businesses to apply and don't assume that you may not be eligible, because our goal, like we just said, we're trying to get the money out. And the application that's online for small business, I think is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. We do have an English version and also a Spanish version. So we're trying to cover all bases and with our outreach.
Mm-hmm.
So Isabella, we kind of covered, Georgina was very good at filling in a lot of the information, I would imagine. I don't know all of it, but it sounds like you know pretty much. So what I want to know is, okay, so moving forward, now Isabella, you are the Director of Operations for Exion, and that's the consulting firm hired by the county to, it's a bank, you said, right, Ken? I think he said it's a bank. You're a bank?
No, we're not a bank. We're a
Oh.
nonprofit. We're a nonprofit organization. We are a microlender. We focus on capital coaching and connection. So we do small business loans, but we are a nonprofit. So we don't make any money from the loans we make.
Okay, so you help the county, you're helping them on how to disperse the funds, or the right way to do it.
Yeah, so once everything happened, and since March, we've been doing a lot of administering of grant programs. Even though we've generally been focused on loans, we quickly transitioned into doing and administering grant programs. We've worked with the city of Chicago, county, state, and now are working also with Will County.
Okay, so in terms of the distribution of the funds, Georgina was saying, you of course are you don't want everybody to apply who's a small business, even if you can at least be assessed, even if you don't think you might get the funds. So can you tell us how when the money would be dispersed once people are approved and when the approval will begin? I think you said after the 28th, maybe. Was that it, Georgina? I thought. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we
But
were
when,
looking at mid-October, but go ahead, Isabel.
yeah.
Yeah, so it would happen in mid-October once the application period ends. So we don't review anything until that happens because it's based on a lottery system. So even if to allow for smaller businesses who need more time to gather the documentation, all the required documents, have the same chance as larger businesses that have an accountant who can immediately have all the documentation ready. So to create a more equal playing field, we do a lottery after the application period closes, and then we review all the applications in order until we've basically allocated all the funds we have, and then we would proceed to funding. And hopefully, yes, mid-October.
So you're
So
basically
what,
waiting till after the deadline to make sure you get everybody, so you're able to look at everyone then, yeah?
Yeah,
And for receiving the applications, which again is September 30th, is that it?
28th.
28.
28th.
Yeah, so far, yeah, we've been just collecting those applications, and we've had applications consistently coming every day, but we're not
So,
reviewing them yet.
so one other question I have is, how are you going to do a follow-up to ensure or see how the people have used the funds? How are you going to track that?
What we're looking into is doing a survey, post-assessment survey to those businesses that have received the funds. We want to know if how they've been helped by receiving these funds, if they're in the process of restoring their business to pre-COVID levels, if they have any thoughts about how to move forward or whatever. And then what we again are looking into doing, I think I mentioned, we're more or less like financial planning workshops so that we can assist these businesses going forward. And the bottom line is that all small businesses need that, regardless of whether there's a COVID pandemic or an economic downturn based on a lot of different reasons, a disaster such as a tornado or something. Everyone needs this kind of support so they can continue to grow and move forward. So that's what we're looking to do. And hopefully when we capture the survey information, should there be more funding that's becomes available from the US Treasury, should there be other opportunities to support business, we then have a template that we can follow in terms of making sure that the businesses have the information that they need and the supports they need to move their businesses forward successfully.
So I
So
know
what you're
that
saying,
you're
Rex, let me hold on one second. I'm gonna follow up on that real quick. So you're saying that when they use the funds, that because they're not supposed to use it for the funds are so specific to a certain thing they are supposed to do, like for expenses. Is that what it is, for bills?
Yes, but there's not a reimbursement process for this. So, for example, if you're a restaurant, you've had to purchase additional equipment. Maybe you've had to retrofit your air conditioning system with HEPA filters. Maybe you've had to supply PPE equipment for your employees. I'm sure you've seen some restaurants. I was just in Mandy's on Sunday, and in Bolingbrook, and they had to put up the plexiglass to separate the customer. They had to change the line because they can no longer serve people inside, so they had to change the queue process to get customers through. You go to a grocery store and you see some of them have put up plexiglass, or they've had signage on the floor to direct traffic in and out. So there are a lot of things that people can do. Maybe they've incurred additional expenses, including they've had to pay hazard pay. They've had to hire additional help. They've had to pay someone to come in and sterilize their building, their offices. The restaurants need to now do that on a daily basis. in terms, if you're a daycare center, you've had to adjust. Let's say you're not even a daycare center, but you provide daycare in your home. You've had to adjust, you know, your nap space and all that kind of stuff. So we are not asking for people to submit receipts. Each applicant must attest to the fact that they have been impacted by COVID. And again, we're more focused on the fact that you can verify that you're a small business, the fact that you have less than 25 full-time equivalent employees, and you attest to the fact that yes, you've been impacted by COVID, and your proof is profit loss statement, your
Bank statement.
tax forms, your federal tax forms, your bank statements. And Isabel, you can speak to what other documentation that you're looking for.
Yeah, so the one thing I was going to say, that part of the use of this funds is to pay for revenue loss or expenses that have already happened. So it wouldn't, a lot of people, because it's been so long now, might use this funds to just pay stuff that they've already incurred due to the pandemic. So we are asking for 2 bank statements from before March and after March that show either revenue loss or more expenses due to COVID, which we're just looking for on the front end.
Great. I just want to interject here real quick for Jamie. This is really for Jamie. And Zoom has gotten rid of the 40-minute limit, so we're good on time. I was just notified of that through Zoom. Just real quick, I had another question. So I like how it sounds to me like the county and Browner are working together to do this. I've heard a lot about this now, where basically COVID has made us all say, we got to think differently, think out of the box in terms of how we're running our.
Okay, what happened?
Yeah, I also lost the sound.
I can't hear you, Ray. Okay.
This movement to not only, in other words, it's not just about handing out money to people, to businesses. It's about saying, hey, let's look at ways that you might be able to do things differently in light of the COVID situation. Is that correct? If you could talk maybe a little bit more about that.
Yes, I would say so. And economic development is important to any community, whether we suffer through like the recession a few years back, whether again it's a tornado that hits a community like Plainfield, or there are thunderstorms and tornadoes that hit the Joliet area. You know, there's always a disaster that we're going to be facing. And again, I think it's important to ensure that our small businesses that are the heart and soul of our communities are able to recover and get the supports that they need so they can move forward. And that is the purpose of these funds, that's why we're not looking at businesses that are contemplating bankruptcy or in the process of filing bankruptcy. It's unfortunate that so many businesses, including restaurants, have shuttered their doors. But you know, there's an opportunity for those businesses that see the light that they can use these funds to help them build their business, get reimbursed to some extent to the expenses that they may have to have paid in advance to support reopenings and move forward.
Okay, that's Isabella, do you have anything else that you think is important that our viewers can learn about? We're going to be posting this in many of the business websites, small business websites, the African American business websites that are locally here within the county and the area. So do you have something else you can add that would help them to have a better understanding? And so it's going to be a varied businesses that'll be launching.
So I think related to the question before, one of the things we at Acción also provide is coaching. So helping businesses deal with the current situation is a lot of the things we do so we can help businesses both apply to this grant, but also work out how they're going to manage their own business and change how they currently work to address everything that's happening. And what I would say about the application itself, it's relatively simple, but we also have a link to a question form. So if anybody is applying and they have any question on if documentation qualifies or not, that feel free to reach out to us at Axiom, and we will help them figure out the exact documentation they need so they get approved in the case they are selected for the grant and they don't miss the opportunity for submitting an incorrect document or something like that.
So do you have an email for that, people can do that, or?
Yes, there's a question, sorry, there's a question form link that I'll email you because
it's on the website.
Yeah.
Okay. So when they go to the website, they'll be able to see that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to wrap it up now. Do you have another question, Rex?
No, I was just going to say, if you would like me to share the website, but I think maybe we should give it one more time for the CARES Act. Ken or Georgina or.
It's willcountyillinois.com/COVID-biz grant.
Okay, and we'll share that when we share this as well. But
Mm-hmm.
just, they can also just find that on the Will County, isn't it more simply, Will County CARES Act, or I want to say there's something else. That's within.
WillCountyBoard.com.
That.
Will County Board, there's a link to get to the application.
Okay, so they can go to willcountyboard.com.
Yes.
Ken, do you have anything else you want to add, being, the chairman and all of the whole thing? You've done a great job at getting this thing going and getting things done. So we want to congratulate you on that. And, you're doing some good things in this county.
Yeah, like I tell my sons, I enjoy spending money. So I think we've come a long way as a county, and from the time this money was given to us until we get to this point. So we're making progress as a county board, and also as a committee. So I'd like to thank all that's involved, the consulting staff from the county, our county executive, our county board, our committees, and even our residents for telling us what they need. So we're listening. I mean, just so much is needed. So we got a good task here to get money out to our residents in our county.
That's good. So the community heard you when you said, contact the county on all their needs. I'm sure you would.
We get that anyway, though, but they don't like our responses. But I don't mind. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I would just like to say that I've been so impressed with Will County, the county executive, Denise Winfrey, Ken Harris, of course, for his leadership with the ad hoc committee. This is not just a typical government program. It's so obvious when I talk to the county representatives that they have a passion for supporting the community. And I'll tell you, I researched, when I came into this process, I researched what was going on in other states, what was happening with COVID funds in other cities and counties, and the passion that I see coming out of Will County is a model for the country. So Ken, I just want to thank you for your leadership and how you've managed this whole process. And it's been a joy and a pleasure to work with you on this project. So thank you.
You're welcome. Appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
All righty.
Is that it? Rex, you have anything else you want to add?
I just wanted to, again, I just really wanted to say that, again, Ken, it wasn't just in this position. It's because aren't you chairman of the finance committee for the Will County Board?
Here, president of the Forest Preserve. I serve on the Public Works and Transportation Committee. So the ad hoc census committee. So
And
pretty busy.
what's the next thing coming up from the committee's level? Like, do you have a meeting coming up that, anything, what's next on your agenda in terms of this situation?
The next up is next Thursday. We have a committee meeting at 2:00. We're probably going to be discussing the not-for-profit and the food and shelter portion of this money. I'm not sure if we're going to have a decision yet, but I know the community is anxious to get that rolled out and also get an update of the money that's been allocated and approved and if any checks been dispersed. So.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time.
Okay.
And we're going to post this, and Georgina will be in touch. And thank you, Isabella, for coming in and giving us your, I'm sure it's going to be helpful. I may even call you soon.
Sure.
All right.
Completely free. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
No, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.